Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes and you'll have to excuse the mess behind me. This is actually our spare room, which is basically used to store the merchandise that I sell as part of my other YouTube channel. It also houses my decks and records that don't get used or anything anymore. Anyway, I am currently 95 days clean, which is awesome. Fast approaching treble figures, and now I'm past the 90 days that people say it takes to build a habit. And yeah, this new healthier lifestyle is really becoming a habit now. Obviously, every now and again my mind is trying to persuade me to not work as hard at being healthy and stuff, but I understand that that's always going to be the case. After years and years and years of basically being a waste man, it's set into my personality to be a waste man. So yeah, that will always be there. But I can feel myself, I'm becoming a doer now. When I have a thought in my mind to do something and then sort of have a thought to bottle it, whether it be an extra exercise in the gym or at home or anything, I've got into the habit now where I have to do it. If I think of something that is a good idea in terms of helping me progress and be healthy, I have to do it, which is great. I'm sort of winning the battle against my mind every time, because as I've explained to you before on this channel, I see my mind as a separate entity from myself. It's not me. It's a voice in my head that's been built based on past experiences, based on influences, based on my life, which hasn't been ideal the way I've lived it. So of course it's going to try and revert back to a way that I'm not trying to be anymore. Anyway, I'm not over the moon about reaching 95 days clean. Not only because it's what I should be doing. I should have been doing all along. I should be living a healthy life. That's what everyone should be doing. I believe that everyone should be striving to be the best person they can be, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, if you're into business and all that. And quite frankly, 99% or more of the world aren't doing that. They're seeking comfort, they're addicted to comfort, they're seeking pleasure, rather than seeking improvement in themselves. Now, one way that I look at, your mood and, how happy you are is that the same sort of part of your brain that makes you depressed when something bad happens, and bad things do happen in life. People are going to get depressed. I'm not saying that everyone who gets depressed, doesn't deserve to be depressed. But the way I see it is the same part of your brain that causes you to be depressed and literally causes you not to be able to function because something bad has happened in your life is also the same part of your brain that causes certain people to be, euphoric with joy over every little win they get. Think about it yourself. How many people do you know out there that are always depressed when something bad happens? They portray themselves as someone who has a really, really hard life, always has bad luck, and they're always down in the dumps, except for when things go really, really well in their life and they're like on top of the world, high on life, and you'll find that the kind of people that are, depressed a lot rather than being upset a lot are the same kind of people that are high on life like a lot rather than just being happy a lot. So as you go through your life, as you go through your day, your mood goes up and down, and this is not to be confused with what I was saying before about how you should be progressing in your life. How you're progressing as a person goes up and down as well, but you always want to try and make sure that is on its way up, so you're constantly improving in different areas of your life. So your general life, if you was to take a step back and look at your life from the outside, should always look as you're going up. What I'm talking about now is more your mood, how happy or how sad you are. You're always up and down, up and down, up and down. And in my opinion, when the good times come, I'm not saying that you shouldn't enjoy them, shouldn't be grateful for them, but you don't want to overly celebrate every little win you have or every little good day you have. You don't want to be up here every time you get a win, because what you'll find is as a result of that, you'll be right down in the dumps every time something bad happens. What you'll find is, and there's always exceptions, that people are more, successful in life. Money isn't the only way you can be successful in life, but you'll find that people who are successful in their life and happy or content are the kind of people that aren't super happy with every win, and they're not super depressed with every lose. They sort of go through life enjoying the good things, being sad when the bad times happen, but staying on a bit of a level. And I believe that's the best way to be. So for instance, when I say to you today that I'm 95 days clean, I'm not dancing around about it. Being 95 days clean for me is massive. Like, it is massive. There's been many times in my life, well, in fact, most of my adult life, where if I was being honest with myself, if I wasn't trying to fool myself, being 95 days clean of all alcohol, all drugs, and not smoking cigarettes, would be unrealistic. Like, it'd be impossible, I would say. But it's not impossible, because I've done it, and long may it continue. But I'm not going to be jumping around, celebrating about it, because I also want to be the kind of person that when something bad really does happen, and really bad things are going to happen in my life. My parents are both still alive. What am I going to do when one of my parents dies? Am I going to hit the gutter and go on a bender? No, I need to keep myself so that I'm able to deal with the good times and deal with the bad times without hitting these two extremes. Anyway, I've drawn a bit of a diagram, although when I say a diagram, it's literally a bit of paper with some lines on, which will hopefully explain what I'm trying to say a bit better, because sometimes I'm not very good at explaining stuff. So, very simple design. We've got the black line in the middle. Now, what I haven't mentioned yet, which is very important, if you're too unemotional about, when things are good and when things are bad, you're living your life very close to this black line, that is also not good. That might mean that you're not challenging yourself enough in life, and you're not enjoying life enough. So, you need to make changes. You need to be in a position where you are challenging yourself enough so that, you get a bit of up and down in your life. You don't want to be, just a line with no emotion at all. You'll end up one of these people that doesn't enjoy anything, but equally isn't affected by anything negative either. You can turn into quite a sick person. People that are maybe serial killers and, really messed up people. That's, a lot of the time that's how they live. They're emotionless. They're able to hurt people without it affecting them. They're able to be hurt by people and it doesn't affect them. They're able to, when good things do happen in their life, they're unaffected. So you definitely don't want to be like that. But you also don't want to be reaching the red lines. Down here is where you're depressed. Anytime you don't get your own way, anytime a bad thing happens, you're depressed, in the gutter, wasting days and days, making yourself physically ill as well as mentally ill. And then, when you're at the high life, when good things happen, you're right up here, you're euphoric. Any little win you get, you're literally high on life, and it's unrealistic. While you're up here, you're not being realistic in life. You're probably missing out on other opportunities to be truly happy. So the way I like to try and be is, when I get a win, I'm happy about it, but I try not to let myself get too happy about every little win. And then when bad things happen, I assess them for what they are, and I don't allow myself to get super depressed. So you want to live within these green lines here. You don't want to be heading up to the red lines and down to the red line, and you certainly don't want to be living your life numb. This is where you're literally not having a life at all. So that diagram kind of shows how my simple brain looks at it, where I'm actively not trying to get super excited about every win. Wins are good, but life is long. Life should be a series of lots of wins and, dealing with the lows without, letting yourself get drawn into every, up and down in your life. Because ultimately, your mood, it's just your mind, judging, what's happening to you. And I try and live my life where I'm not just dominated by my mind. I try and see things for how they are. which means that when something really, really great happens, or something that your mind is, like pinging about, when you sit back and assess it, like really, like nothing's that great, nothing's that important that it should take your whole focus, especially if you're constantly trying to improve your life, because, it's all about improving every day, constantly improving a little bit and a little bit. It's not about, one big win that's going to, take all your attention for ages and ages and ages, and take your attention off what your next goal might be, or what your goals are in another area of your life. And equally, when bad things happen, your mind might try and drag you into depression, make you feel that it's worse than it is, in fact, all the time. When something bad happens, even if it is something really bad, if you allow your mind to, your mind's going to make you think it's worse than it is. Yeah. And that's not going to serve you, is it? You're better off assessing things for what they are, live in the present moment. Don't allow your mind to create a story about whatever this negative thing is. And then not only will you not end up being in the gutter and being depressed for days and days and days, which is going to take you away from other things in your life, but the more you live in the present moment, the more you're able to deal with negative things when they do arise, which in turn means you're less likely to be drawn in by your mind to utter depression about every negative thing that comes up. But another thing that's kind of along these lines, to do with happiness and sadness, and I kind of touched on it at the beginning of the video, the way our minds are wired, we see comfort as happiness, yeah? Whereas what I find, and now what I strive to do now, is to lean into discomfort. Yeah, the way to be truly happy, in my opinion, is to lean into situations that your mind is telling you are not good because they're not comfortable, because they're not easy. Yeah, you're going to get on better in life if you lean into discomfort. For example, every morning, I've said before, one of the things that I'm really still struggling with is getting to sleep and waking up in the morning. Yeah, and I am still struggling with it. Now, when I wake up in the morning, the easier thing is for me to lay in bed. And that's what I've been doing way too much of. And that's because the night before, instead of going to sleep straight away, the easier thing to do is to sit there scrolling on your phone and, giving your brain a load of dopamine from a flashing screen, which, doesn't help you sleep. The harder thing to do would be to go to bed early and to get up early. But in terms of my life, in terms of bettering myself, in terms of becoming a better person, I will get more work done if I go to bed early and I get up early. And it's going to make my whole life a bit better, especially because I'm striving to do better with my YouTube channel, do better with keeping fit, so I'll have more time to do all this stuff. So my brain wants me to stay in bed, not because it's the right thing to do, but because it's the comfortable thing to do. Yeah, you'll find a lot of the times in life when you need to make a decision, you've either got the right choice to make or the easy choice to make. The easy choice is nearly always the wrong choice when you're in those situations where you've got to decide between comfort and not comfort. And look, I'm not saying that everyone should go out and, kill themselves by making decisions that are really hard, but ultimately your mind is wired so that it's not going to let you do that anyway. Like most people out there, your mind isn't going to allow you to push yourself anywhere near close to death, say, because we're hardwired for survival. Yeah, and that's because thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago we had saber-toothed tigers that were trying to kill us. We were living in caves. We had other animals and other tribes trying to hunt us. Nowadays life is easy, but our minds are still wired how they were thousands and thousands of years ago, because we've evolved to be so intelligent that in a way we're too intelligent for our now comfortable lives. Or a better way to put it would be to say our lives are now too comfortable for how intelligent we are. So that's why, in my opinion, if you want to be truly happy, which is just a state of mind at the end of the day, but it's a word, if you want to be truly happy, you need to lean into discomfort. And if you want to better yourself, then you definitely need to lean into discomfort. And also, don't allow your mind to compare your situation to other people's. When you're sort of striving to lean into discomfort and better yourself, you don't want to be looking at other people like who seem like they've got an easier life and seem like they have more luck than you do. Forget that. You need to focus on yourself. You are the most important person in your life. If you want to better yourself, you need to lean into discomfort. Be thankful that other people have got an easier life than you, because maybe that means that they're never going to have the urge to better themselves. Even if it seems like their lives are fine and dandy, and they might believe that their lives are fine and dandy, if they're not getting any challenges in life, they're not truly happy, even if they don't know that. But what you might find that actually they have worked hard at whatever they're doing. You know, if we're talking in terms of how rich people are financially, you know, it might seem like their lives are easy. You know, they've got a nice house and a nice car and plenty of money, but you know, to get there, you know, 99.9% of people that do get to high levels of success, whether it be financially, healthy, whatever gauge you want to give on how successful someone is, they have had to work to get there. So don't be fooled. Don't allow your mind to keep you where you're at by persuading you that they've got it easy and you haven't. If you're not going up against some sort of struggle, some sort of discomfort that you're giving yourself every day, then you ain't living to your potential. I think especially as a man, you need to be challenging yourself on a daily basis, because you ain't having to go out and hunt food and run away from saber-toothed tigers and, you know, climb up trees and stuff. Yeah, even if you've got a demanding job and stuff, like, it's still not what we're built for. This life is easy, and to progress in this life and to be the best person you want to be, you need to cause yourself struggle. So for me, that's exercising every day. It's staying away from drinking drugs and not being a waste man, how I have been for my whole life. It's sitting down every day and meditating, because that's my way of practicing not letting my mind draw me into where it wants me to go, which doesn't serve me. You know, going to the gym nearly every day, exercising at home every day, eating healthily every day, getting bigger, getting stronger, you know, just challenging myself in any way. You know, the day job I used to have, it was well paid, it was easy, but it was no good for me. At the time, you know, you sort of see it as good for you. I was in my mind imagining myself not having that job and seeing it as a bad thing. Well, now I'm in a position where, you know, I don't have a lot of money. I'm trying to make a living on my other YouTube channel. It's very uncertain. Maybe it will all fail and then I'll have to go and get a job or whatever. But I've still become a better person by going through this experience, you know, keeping myself hungry, keeping myself uncomfortable. It is definitely turning me into a better person. And, you know, so far, 95 days clean is proving that. And look, if you are putting yourself through discomfort, testing yourself on a day-to-day basis, and then you get to a point where life does get easier just because you're working harder and becoming a better person, then you need to constantly add struggle to your life, discomfort to your life, you know, a little bit, you know, so you can keep going. You know, becoming a better person isn't somewhere you get to. Like, it's something you do until you die. Like, you know, don't see it as like a destination. Oh, you know, because again, that's another way where your mind's like looking into the future, and the future isn't real. You know, oh, when I get healthier, when I get richer, like when I this, when no, like it's a constant thing that you should be doing every day, and a destination that you never get to. And that's the way I look at it. So I'm gradually adding things, you know, like every now and again I'm doing an extra exercise in the morning just to constantly lean into more and more discomfort. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I've got to a stage now where if I sort of mentally decide to do something, for instance, if I'm walking around, you know, the block on my walk every morning, you know, sometimes I'm sort of deciding, right, what exercises am I going to do when I get home. And, you know, as I've said before, I religiously do 3 exercises and 2 sets of each. You know, I'll go round, and then sometimes I'll be like, do you know what? I'm just going to do another set of press-ups today. Like, and then when I get here and I do my 3 exercises, 2 sets of each, and I've done, you know, what I need to do, I'm knackered, it's time for me to get in a cold shower. It's like, no, I decided, even though it was a stupid little thought, I decided that I was going to do that extra set of press-ups, so I just do it. So it's now got to the point where I'm not allowing my mind to draw me out of my new lifestyle that I'm, you know, trying to, you know, the new person that I'm trying to be. But then also, whenever I have a thought about doing something good, and then my mind sort of steps in and changes my mind, if you like, I've got to a stage now where it's like, no, I'm sort of becoming a doer. And this is what it's all about. It's about analysing your mind constantly. You know, when you get a thought, is that thought serving me? Is it going to make me into a better person? Or is that thought hindering me? Is that, you know, the old me, I could say, yeah? And you need to decide. So yeah, in your daily life, just have a look around, you know, have a look at other people without judgment. Like, don't allow your ego to judge them, but have a look around and just notice and acknowledge without judgment the kind of people you see that are always depressed. Are they also the same kind of people that are always super high on life after every little win? You know, just have a look and see if you notice that. Yeah. Likewise, are the people around you, friends and family, that are never really super happy about every win? Yeah. But you'll find that they're also the ones that are not ever super depressed, and they seem to be able to deal with negative times in their life. You know, have a look and see if you can notice that pattern. Now, don't get me wrong, there might be people that are more often, you know, down than they are up, and there might be people that are more often up than they are down. But what I'm talking about is the intensity of their, you know, positive and negative emotions. So yeah, have a look around. Let me know in the comments if you do notice any examples that do kind of follow what I've been saying. And yeah, just in general, try not to get drawn in every time you get a little win. Try not to be super unnecessarily happy. And then you might find that when bad things happen, you're less likely to be utterly depressed. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope it's kind of made sense. As always, put in the comments if there's anything in particular you want me to discuss. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.